All right, everybody, welcome to episode 7 of Conversation with a Cancer. I am your Cancer, and today I have another wonderful guest. Someone I met, I would like to say maybe 9 years ago, I think we met. Something
Yeah,
like that. Something like that.
yeah.
She is someone I met through my sister Rhonda. She is someone that I have grown to love, and I think is a wonderful individual who is hilarious. And I remember I had told my sister a joke that she wasn't supposed to tell you, and she told you. And ever since then, we just always been cool. And my sister treated you like family and royalty, so I made sure I did the same. So I would like to
Yeah.
introduce everyone to Tiffany. Please say hello.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So, how are you?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm making it. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and everybody has to kind of find their own wavelength. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
right now, I'm riding mine. I'm riding my wave. So I'm
Mm,
good.
So speaking of pandemic, how are you handling the pandemic?
So I'm newly divorced. My divorce was final in July of this year, right in the
Mm.
middle of the pandemic. But it
Oof.
was good though because I've been separated for 2 years. So,
Oh.
and I'm not talking about the separated where you get back with them or you sleep with them, or we've been separated not talking for 2 years. So,
Wow.
so that was a blessing during the pandemic. Now, mentally and emotionally, being a single woman, just having moved to Florida, no immediate family in the immediate area, that was kind of challenging, because I really tried to quarantine, tried to do everything right, just go to the store, work out outside or at my house. So emotionally, you kind of realize, this world revolves around people. A lot of times
Absolutely.
we think that it revolves around money or work or
Mm.
substance, but now it revolves around people. And when you don't have people, you don't have that communication, it messes with your head. So there were a few times during the pandemic, and I had to pop a Zanny. I'm not gonna front because I was like, "Yo, I'm flipping. I need to chill." So I popped a Zanny a couple times during the pandemic, but I'm a lot better now because things are kind of getting back to normal and the new norm. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing was I couldn't go to the gym. Like I felt like not closed in or boxed in, but I felt like just going to work and coming home and nothing in between. And my daughter's mother decided to keep her at the house so she wouldn't get sick at the beginning of the pandemic. Like I was going crazy. Like,
Flipping
whoo.
out. Did
So
you
I
start working out at home?
Yeah, so I had my mom had a total gym that she never opened, so I opened it and put it in the basement. And I was working out with that, and then I had some free weights, like some dumbbells that went up to like 50 pounds, but you have to split the 50 pounds in between two dumbbells. So I was doing what I could do, and then I started running outside more. But that first, I think March through May and March through June to my gym opened back up. I was going a little stir crazy myself, but yeah, it was
Look, we
rough.
made it. We in
Yes, we did.
2021. We made
We
it.
we made it, and we got 19 days until we get that man out of office too.
Mm, won't he
So
do it?
yes. So I remember how we met, but I would like to hear from your point of view. What you remember about how we met?
So I can't even front. I don't remember, but I believe that's what I believe
Okay.
that I was invited to a dinner, and I think it was like you and your mom and Rhonda, your sister. You don't remember when we had dinner?
I remember that because your boyfriend at the time was there, correct?
Yes.
But I think we had met at my sister's church before then. I think because I think I was already familiar with you, or maybe I just my sister talked to you or talked about you so much that maybe
Mhm.
I thought we had met before then. So it could be either or,
What
but
was
I
the
do
name of
remember that
y'all's
dinner.
church? Refresh my memory. What was the name of the church?
Springfield something. That's a better question for my sister. I don't remember the name of it. I just remember what it looked like on the inside, because it was a nice church, but I couldn't tell you the name of it. It could have been First Tabernacle for all I know.
United Methodist Baptist
Right, right,
Apostolic
right,
Faith. But
right.
whenever we met,
Hmm.
it was a beautiful encounter, and it's still been beautiful. Like I got so much love for you
Right,
that I mean I can't even express it.
right. So I do have a fond memory of you, but you wasn't in it. So I remember I had asked my sister about you. I was like, well, does she work out? She play volleyball or something? She's like, no, she's in the service. I'm like, oh, wonder why she built, because you're muscular and you're well built as a black woman. So
Thank you.
naturally I looked, I'm like, she gotta be in some type of sport. But that was my fondest memory of you, asking my sister why you were built like that, because I could just ask my sister like, so what she do for a living? But yeah, so
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely 20 years, United States Air Force. And
mm,
then, my parents, they fed me well. So
right, three
kind
meals,
of
hey,
natural.
3 meals a day will do that to you. So,
Yeah, all natural.
oh, because it ain't a lot of natural out here.
It's not, but I'm proud to say I am one of them. There's nothing artificial in my body.
Hey, I just learned about BBL about 2 months ago, so I'm learning new things.
You like women? You like women? I mean, does it matter? Do you have a preference?
It doesn't matter in the sense of, if I like you, I like you. But if I can pick out a prototype of what I want, I would prefer natural. But I'm not going to, scold some woman for what she wanted to do to make herself feel good. Like, who am I? That's your body.
Okay, I like that answer. That's
Yeah.
dope. Because you
Yeah.
hear a lot of men who are very opinionated about a woman's body, and it's like, well, bruh, you don't know what we go through on a daily basis. So, although I'm natural, eventually I'm gonna have some work done, but it's gonna be to take some stuff out. It's not
Really?
gonna put anything in. Yeah,
Mm, mm.
yeah.
I know a friend who wants to have breast implants, and her thing is, I just want to feel better about myself. And I remember us having conversations about it. I said, thinking in my head, like, you crazy, why do you need that? And I had to tell myself, like, who cares what I think? That's what she thinks she needs, that's what she
Right,
wants. So
right.
yeah, that was my first experience with learning about how women view themselves. But
hmm
so what did you do? Because I left Springfield, I think 2010, 2011. So what did you do when you left Springfield?
When I left Springfield, I went to Turkey, to the country
Mm,
Turkey.
mm,
I had got stationed. I was only stationed in Springfield or in Dayton is where I was stationed, but the church, Greater Grace Temple, where we went, was in Springfield. So I was there for 6 years, and then I got stationed in Turkey for almost 2 years. So after I
uh,
left there, I never came back to Ohio, and don't plan on it. But God has the final say. But yeah, so I went to Turkey. I went overseas.
wow. I mean, so I don't really know much about Turkey. Like, there's a lot of countries I know, like, common sense stuff about, but I don't know anything about Turkey. So, just from your perspective, how would you describe Turkey to someone who doesn't know anything about Turkey?
So Turkey is very Mediterranean.
Okay.
Their religion is kind of centered around the Islamic faith. So there are a lot of women, very traditional in Turkey. So you see a lot of women still covered completely from their head to their toe.
Mm,
Their men are, of course, the head, but women are considered um, not first class citizens. So I had a problem with that. But we're there to serve. So it's not really our position or our place to
right.
say, hey, power to the people, women's rights. But yeah, so a lot of times if you walk downtown, because they are so traditional, and let's say I had on this shirt is kind of short sleeve.
Mm,
I have a little bit, not too much cleavage showing. Um, but they would probably prefer me to be covered. Now they would respect me because I have on a hat and I don't have on shorts or a skirt or anything like that. So they're very traditional in their ways, and very centered around the Islamic faith. Sometimes you will go to beaches there, and the women would have on their full, forgive me, I don't remember the name of it, but they
mm,
would be completely covered in the ocean, right? Having a play date with their kid. And I can recall looking and just saying, that's absolutely ridiculous. How does a man who just has on some swim trunks and no shirt,
right.
how is he comfortable with his wife being in that ocean? If she gets swept away, she's going to be weighed down by what she's wearing. And that's very symbolic of life, in that culture when they're not first class citizens. So yeah, so very diverse, very beautiful, very close to Iran and Syria. So there
Mm,
were a lot of conflicts. A lot of times we had to be locked down on the base and could not go anywhere just in case a conflict arose.
Right.
But it was very centralized, so you could travel to anywhere. So I traveled to Belgium, to Greece. I went all over Turkey. I went to, I was in Adana. I went to Istanbul and Izmir, and you name it. So I really enjoyed my time there.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. I never knew that that's where you went. I just always assumed you went straight to Vegas. That see how
No,
my mind works because I didn't know the depths of you being in the service and whatnot. So that was just, oh, she went to Springfield, she went to Vegas. That's what I always thought. So when did you end up in Vegas? How long like right after Turkey or
no. After Turkey, I got stationed in Charleston, South Carolina.
oh okay, I do remember that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I was there for 3 years, almost four. And then I went to Vegas, and Vegas was my last duty station before I retired from the military.
Okay. So you've been a lot of places. I don't know the exact number, but do you have a favorite country or city or state that you like?
My favorite country by far is Africa, the motherland.
Okay.
When I'm there, I feel like my soul is rooted and it feels at home when I'm there. Africa is amazing. And then when I'm away from it, I have a longing to be back there.
Oh,
So I actually had tickets to go back to Africa. I was going to Cape Town and Johannesburg on this trip in March, and that's when the pandemic kicked off.
ah,
So I got all my little money back. It's about $2,500, and it was going to be like a 11-day trip to Africa. So I was a little salty about that, but all is well, and I'll still be able to go one day.
I've never been to Africa. I think Canada, Puerto Rico. That's it. You know, Puerto Rico's a U.S. territory, so I really ain't been too far out the country
What's
at
stopping
all.
you?
Nothing. Well, before I used to just always feel like it was so much I haven't seen in the States that why am I rushing overseas? But over the last 2 years of me traveling and going places, I'm like, that mindset is gone for me. Like, I just, wherever I want to go, I want to go. Like, I really want to see Spain. I would love to go to Africa. You know, I would love to go over and see France and things like that. I want to see Egypt. I just, I have to plan it. My thing is, I'll say I want to go, and then I'll let something interrupt my mindset about it, and I'll do
Mhm.
that. And I'm not doing that no more. Like I know the pandemic is crazy, but I'm gonna do some traveling this year. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna be masked up. I'm gonna stay 6 feet. I'm gonna go find some place that got good baked goods and good chicken, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live this year. I'm gonna be out
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much of the world that is so amazing. And that's why I stay traveling. Even during the pandemic, I've traveled. And like you said, I've masked up. And actually, I feel as though because I traveled a lot before the pandemic, I feel like it's safer now to travel just because airlines are cleaner, airplanes
Mm,
are cleaner. People are actually wearing masks as opposed to not before. They're sanitizing things. And I try to travel early in the morning before the airports get packed and or late at night. So I still been traveling. I stopped for a while when, for probably about 6 months from March to September, I stopped traveling. And then I started back, and my first trip was to Mexico. So yeah, I've traveled. I've traveled. I think you should do it. There's so much of the world. I mean, it's so amazing.
yeah.
Yeah,
When I was in San Juan, I was like, man, I've never seen nothing beautiful like this.
it
Like
is.
me and my cousin Phil went. And I remember we were standing on top of this castle, and all I saw was blue water,
Oh,
and you can see
mhm.
through it. And I said, "This is unreal for me. Green grass, blue water, beautiful blue skies, you know, buildings and city traffic. Like you don't really get to see that here in the States unless you're just on top of some building. But even still, it's not going to look like that. It's not going
Mhm.
to have that fresh. Oh, this is kind of how the way God intended the world to look type of
Right.
feel. And I was like, man, this is crazy. So 2021, I'm gonna get out here in these COVID streets. But also I want to touch on that because my first thought about traveling when the pandemic, I was like, oh no, this is crazy. We're gonna be stuck on planes together. But when you just said everything is much cleaner, I just laughed to myself because people will tell you or airlines will come tell you we don't have the time to do it. And now you can't no choice but to do these things, and you have to do them, you know, back to back consecutively. You have to do them on time, and you have no excuses for them. So like, well, if we ever go back to normal, some of these things have to be kept in place. Like,
Yeah.
I'm okay with standing 6 feet apart from people. I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay with you taking time to clean something before I get into it. Like that's something that I think they need to keep and they need to implement. But we'll see what Biden has planned when he gets in there for things of that
Yes, we
nature.
shall.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna be a little evasive because once again, you are my sister's friend, so I don't talk to you enough, and you and I don't know much about each other's personal life. But it seems like talking to my sister means you have some things in common. I'm not gonna tell you what they are. I'm gonna just see my question. So you said you just got a divorce
Mm-hmm.
and you two haven't talked in 2 years and you're living in Miami. So first thing first, you're mental from being divorced because this is your first time ever being married and divorced, correct?
Correct.
So how is your mentality, like your outlook on men and dating and just how you feel as a woman yourself? Like, because me, I'm in therapy, so I know how I feel mentally, and I'm always good. But I couldn't imagine pandemic, a divorce, and being by myself. So how did you get to a point to where mentally you were able to function the way you want to function, and then maybe even possibly think about dating?
So I'm in a good space right now.
Okay,
I feel like my ending was a new beginning. And I know that's so cliche, but it was. And for me, the legal process is what held up the divorce.
gotcha.
So I kind of had a chance to process the death of the marriage in those 2 years of separation already. So really in July, it was just a matter of paperwork. My perspective on dating, I am so much more stringent, or I am so much more not set in my ways, but I have standards now that I will not budge from. And so, because of those standards, because of what I endured in my marriage, not saying I don't want to bash him or badmouth him, but because of some of the things that happened in my marriage, I know what I won't settle for next go round, if that makes
Ah,
sense. So I can
absolutely.
talk to a man, I can go on a date and talk to him one time, have one date with him or one conversation that is a red flag for me, and I won't date him anymore. And I can walk away without looking back, without feeling any remorse, any guilt. I can just say, you know what, this isn't going to serve my elevation. This is not going to help me grow. This situation is just not for me. Peace. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot easier kind of to walk away from things. So I'm still open minded. I believe this is a new beginning for me. And I'm just vibing.
Right,
I'm not really looking for anything. Like I'm just on
right,
this, I'm not on this, girl power type deal. I'm just
right,
chilling, and
right,
what comes my way will come my way.
right. So I like your answer. That was a great answer. That's someone who has understanding and definitely thought about it. That's not someone who's just, I guess things that happen for me. So my thing, I'm 36 now. My thing is, I've been in love once as an adult. I've dated enough women. I've been a shitty man to women before. So, and my growth was atonement. And once I started atoning for things, I started had a
Mhm.
realization for who I want to be as a person, who I want women to see me as.
Mhm.
And my thing is, you can have a list of 20 things, you can have a list of 10 things, but
Mhm.
whatever your list is, that's your list. And that's
Yeah.
what you got to be very,
Yeah.
you almost got to be stingy and selfish about it. Like you have to just
Yes.
not settle. And I tried this past summer to be with a woman and she lied. And then I just stopped talking to her. I never spoke to her again. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm quit. I'm done trying to date and be honest with women. Like if I meet somebody and we vibe and it's good, the energy right, that's lovely. But I'm no longer putting myself out there to have
Yeah.
someone lie to me again. Like I don't have time for that. You're not about to ruin my happy place, my bubble, my center, just because you don't know how to be honest or you don't want to tell me what you want from Jump Street. So
Did
I
she? So, in what manner did she lie? If that's not too invasive, like
oh this
process it, or did she? Was there a reason she felt like she had to lie? Like, break
so,
that down for me.
so this is my podcast. I like talking about me.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry. I'm sorry.
so I was talking to this woman and I remember when we first met, she said, I want to wait 90 days before we decide if we want to be in a relationship. Cool. I want to go be in a relationship with you tomorrow anyway.
Okay.
So the first 30 days, things are always good. People, as my one friend Norm told me, you always meet someone's representative when you first meet them, and then their real self
Exactly.
world come out. So after, before the first time we had sex, we was watching something on Netflix, And she goes, what was the show called? The Floor is Lava. And the grand prize was $10,000. And she goes,
Oh, I
oh,
love that show.
that show was so stupid. But she goes, I want to tell you something. So I'm thinking she's about to tell me she auditioned for the show. She's like, yeah, so I married this African man for $10,000. So I had to think about it for a second, like, well, you is in my bedroom. I know I'm about to get something tonight. I gotta make sure I say the right thing. Like, it wasn't a red flag, but it was alarming. Like, who am I to tell you what you can't do with your life before you even met me? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I had asked her the necessary questions. Or do y'all still keep in touch? What's going on? And she was like, the pandemic slowed down, so we didn't get to do the whole testing with the I forget the name of that company is, but so I was like, all right, cool. That's what you want to do. Who I can't say anything to it. You already did it. So,
Right.
but that I never forgot that. Like that was in
Mm.
my head. Like, yeah, right. How you feeling? But I talked to my sister about it. I talked to a couple of my homies about it. So I moved on. So let's go another 30 days. So I met her in May and we stopped talking in August. So let's go from 60 days in. 60 days in, she's telling me she like where we at. She really see herself with me and stuff like that. And so one day, we picked my homie up while she was in the car, and right as I get to introduce her, she's like, "Oh, hi, my name is such and such, his girlfriend." I looked at her, but I was driving, but I'm like, all right, but I ain't gonna say nothing. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. You know what I'm saying? So maybe my birthday came, July 20th, and everything was cool. Like she was feeling me, whatnot. And so one day I go over her house after work, and we lay in her bed, and she goes, "I need to tell you something." She's like, "Well, I wrote it down." So I think like, she just feeling some way. She's just gonna express herself to me. She goes, "So I'm unhappy." Unhappy? She's like, "Yeah, I don't like when you go to the store and you don't ask me if I need something, or when we go out, you don't offer to buy my kids anything. I just, you said I had asked you if we ever lived together. Is that something you wanted? And you said no. And I just feel some type of way about it. And I just feel like you don't care about my needs. And like, so I'm just listening to it, but I'm processing it at the same time because I'm not gonna just listen. And I'm processing it. And I'm thinking in my head, like, this bitch looking for a sugar daddy. Like, you could have just told me that's what you wanted from Jump Street. Like, who am I to tell you, you need somebody to take care of you and your kids? So she just talking. And so I had got up and I went to the bathroom. When I'm in the bathroom, I'm using the bathroom. I'm like, I'm about to bounce. Like, I don't know, like, you lie. Like, you've been lying to me this whole time, hoping that what you really wanted, I was just going to stumble into. So I had came back and I said to her, I don't have no relationship with your kids. So why would I think about feeding your kids? And your kids are 16 and 14. Like, that's your
Wow.
job. That's your job. Why would I take you out and then ask you to buy something for your kids? Like, if your kids are hungry and you say to me, hey, can you buy my kids some food? Sure. But every time we go out, I'm never going to think about your kids because they're not my kids. You think
Ooh.
about your kids first. Like, I'm not telling her this, but I'm saying, like, I don't have any relationship with your kids.
Right,
So
right.
so I'm like, and the best thing about me is when I make a decision, I stand on it. And I said, I'm gonna leave. And I left the house and I never talked to her again. Like,
Wow.
because at that point, like, not only did you lie to me, but you tried to make me feel bad for not doing something you wanted me to do. That's not my job to do. That's not how that works. You can't,
Wow.
I can't meet you and then, hey, let me be friends with your kids. I barely know you. I have to learn you. You and I have to be at a good place before I can try to be at a good place with your kids. Can I be nice and courteous when I meet your kids?
Yeah.
Sure. You know, one of her daughters, we were kind of cool because she came to our 4th of July barbecue and she had lost cards to me. I said, let's bet $5. I'm not gonna take your daughter's money. So I used to always say, what's up, Five? How you doing, Five? But even still, that was only if I saw her.
Yeah.
So then she would text me things like, "Oh, I still think we could be great together" and stuff like. But that's not what you were saying. You were trying to tell me that I wasn't doing enough, and you were unhappy when you were telling me physically you was happy and you like where we was going. So I was like, man, I'm not doing this no more. I'm not gonna be
Did you ever
honest.
respond back to any of the text messages though?
No, for what? Like, I think like she had not premeditated, but she had thought out exactly what she was gonna say in that moment to me and catch me off guard. So
Mm.
like, so you saying you think we can still be good together? That's what you should have said when you were telling me all those things you wrote down. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She said other things like, so if we stop talking, will we still be friends? And I'm thinking like, it's not like your mind made up. Like either you get what you want or I gotta go.
Yeah.
So who am I to say to you, you're right, we can still be good together. No, like your mind is made up. I'm not about to come back and then
Right.
continue not to do those things. Like then I'm playing you and I'm lying to myself. So I just moved on from it.
Wow. Well, congratulations for standing up for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because some men will be, or some people, not just men, will be so desperate to be in a relationship. Sometimes we are so desperate to be in a relationship, or we long for that companionship so much that we settle. And then next time we go to the store, it's like, okay, what do you and your son or your daughter want? Or your son, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like, so congratulations for standing up for you. I applaud that.
Yeah, yeah. I think like my thing is when I meet women, I tell women always the same thing. I want someone who is honest and genuinely want to spend time with me, and I'll take care of the rest. Because I used to think like, oh, I need a driven woman, someone who could cook, someone who's fun. Look, I'm fun. I have personality. I'm random. I'm spontaneous. If you don't like
Mm-hmm.
to cook, I know how to feed myself. You gonna just,
Mm-hmm.
if I cook, either you're gonna like it or not, or I learn what you like and I cook for you. I don't need you to do that for me because I can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I can take care of all of those other things. I like to hike. I like to wake up on a Saturday and go to a random bakery 30 miles out and drive back. Like that's the type of person I'm in. So I can bring that. And you can make the decision if that's something you want to be involved in. If you're not, I know we're not going to work out. But
Right.
if you're honest and you genuinely want to spend time with me, I think me and a woman to be fine. Anything that occurs, like bumps on the road, that's part of life. Like, but I'm not dealing with no liars and don't nobody who have time for me. I tried that. I used to talk to a woman who every day, but she only saw me every 2 weeks. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, she would never make time for me, but she would make time for everything else and then blame me for it. So
Wow.
yeah, I keep meeting these women who give me things that I want, but they don't have nothing else outside of that. Like, I can care less if you want to have sex, but can you have meaningful conversation with me? Because I like to talk, obviously. So what are we gonna
Mm-hmm.
talk about every day? So it's just that's my thing. Like right now, I'm at a point where like I ain't talking to no. Well, I am talking to one woman, but I'm not doing anything outside of my comfort zone for someone
Mm-hmm.
that's not genuine. It's just not gonna work.
I respect that. That's my respect. You got to know what you want and you got to stand on that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So what does Tiffany want? Like, if you are talking to a man or dating a man, what is something that you desire a must, or you decide that's a must need? Like, this has to happen.
So I need someone to bring something comparable to the table. Because like I am who I am,
Hmm.
you know, I'm established. I have, all the stuff that makes, it easy to mark off the check boxes. Oh, she's established, she loves God, she does community service, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
That's just like the bare minimum for me. Um, we don't have to have the same finances per se, but you need to be striving toward it. I'm not about to pay your bills or anything like that. We don't need to have the same educational level, but we need to be able to have intellectual conversation. We don't need to have the same diverse background in travel, but I need you to be willing to go on some trips with me when I'm ready to go to be my companion. Um, so right now, I think I'm looking for some of the similar things that you said, like honesty, transparency. I like genuineness. I like spontaneity. I just like a vibe. And I think chemistry is irreplaceable, right? So, like, either you click with somebody or you don't. And so, for me, it's got to be a vibe. Like, I got to feel you. I got to feel I'm an empath. So, I feel energy. And sometimes I take that energy on. And
Hmm.
so, if I'm with you, I'm not forcing anything in 2021. I'm not
Right.
forcing any situation. So, either I feel it or I don't. So, yeah, so I'm just vibing.
Vibe is everything. Like, I actually just have a conversation with one of my married friends about it because his wife makes almost like 5 or 6 times more money than he does, and he loves it. He's like, look, I'm okay. I make the money I make. She makes the money she makes, and it doesn't bother me. I'm not one of them insecure men. I'm saying, listen, let me find me a woman who makes 10 times more money than me. I'm cool with that. she can be the breadwinner. I'm still the man of the house. She just make more money
Right.
than me. Ain't
Okay.
nothing wrong with
Okay.
that. I'm still gonna take the trash out. I'm still gonna open doors. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
still gonna fix things. But when we buy furniture, we spend her money. She got the money for it. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get these
Of
bunk beds.
course.
Get these steel bunk
And I
beds.
wouldn't expect any less. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't expect any less. But
Right.
I just, like I said, I'm not, paying anybody's bills when we go out. I often ask to go Dutch. And a lot of times, I'd say probably about 95% of the times I'm told no, I'll handle it. When I ask to go Dutch or when I ask to pay for the meal, they'll be like, "Nah, I got it," which I respect, But as long as you can do your part, then I'm good, you know.
So let me tell you a trick I use. Like my one friend, when me and her were talking, we would go out and she'd be like, "No, I got it." I'm like, they say don't leave home without it. And I start patting myself acting like I left my wallet at home. And she's like,
Ah,
I got it, but no, listen, I don't know why people have a problem with that. So what, she wants to pay. That means nothing. Like men think if a woman pays, they're not gonna get no box from. That's what they think. Like
oh,
the
is that
woman,
what it is?
some men think it's a less than thing. Like, well, she pays, she gonna feel like she's in control. Listen, if she want to pay, that had nothing to do with her having a good time or how she feels about it. She just wants to spend her
Mm,
money. Because some women think like you're not gonna think if you pay for it, I'm entitled to give you something.
that's interesting. I don't even think about the box, as you called it. I don't even think about the box when it comes down to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a matter of like if I went on several dates with a man and
Hmm.
he's paid for everyone, let me offer, to let him know like he doesn't have to expect to pay for every single meal.
Right.
Or sometimes too, it's I'm capable. I need you to know I'm capable. And I'm not a gold digger or anything of the sort because I have my own. So I don't even think about the box but I'm gonna start thinking about that
Yeah.
when I offer to pay.
Yeah. So, okay. The game is to be sold, not told, but I'm gonna give you some game.
Give me some game.
So here's a couple of tips to know if a man is thinking like if the money is tied into the box. So if you're having a conversation and you're talking and you're
Mhm.
vibing and you say, I don't mind paying, and the guy go, if his first response is, oh, that's cool, what he really thinking is, does that mean you're not gonna give me some? Now if you out and the check comes and he doesn't grab it right away, he trying to see if you're gonna pay for it. He trying to see you gonna
Mm,
pay for it. Because
okay.
most of the time a waiter will put if it's a man and woman, they put the check by the man. But
Yes,
nowadays, because so many people different, they pay, they'll put it in the middle.
they do.
So yeah, yeah. And most importantly, this is my favorite one. If you're out with someone, or even if you're not out, if you are so you planning to get something to eat and a person goes, all right, well, you get it and I'll get what I want. Pay attention to that.
Wow.
You get it and then I'll get what I want. Not let me know what you want. Let's order together. You get what you want and I'll get what I want. Pay attention to that. Y'all get see, y'all not paying attention to it.
Oh, yeah, you just put me up on game because
I do-
I'm going out tonight. So I'm gonna play close attention to when the check comes. I'm gonna play close
Yeah,
attention. Matter of fact, I'm gonna
yeah.
just sit there and just
Yeah, you gotta pay attention to these things like that. So the name of my podcast is Conversation with a Cancer, and I'm learning that trying to learn what a cancer is because women tell me I'm such a cancer. And I think I'm getting a pretty good idea. But in your perspective, have you dealt with any cancer men? If you haven't, do you have any cancer friends that are women that you have dealt with?
So, in preparation for your podcast, I was like, I haven't dated a Cancer man. I'm
Okay.
not really into the zodiac signs. So, I just know birthdays, but I don't know signs.
Right.
And so, in preparation, I'm looking, what is a Cancer man? And I realized one of my most intense relationships was with a Cancer.
Okay.
So, I was blown away, like, oh my goodness, how timely is this? So, yes, I have dealt with a Cancer man. Yes.
And so when you say intense, what do you mean? Like it was a passionate thing? Like we had heated exchange? Like what, describe what you consider intense.
So what I consider intense is, I mean, the conversation was on point.
Hmm.
The spirituality was on point. The chemistry was just undeniable. The sex was probably some of the best sex I've ever had in my life. His head game was crazy.
Okay.
Um, so it was just intense, like all the way around. The things we love to do when we're together. I think sometimes um, there's a spark between two people that kind of
Mm,
occurs like naturally, and it was with the Cancer man for me.
shout out to us. So I absolutely don't give a damn about the zodiac, but I got tired of hearing it because I read it before and I was younger, and some of my friends are Cancer, so I just knew little stuff. But what I'm learning is I think I am this Cancer person women describe me as. And
Hmm.
I'm trying to figure out, is that an intentional thing or that just happens through emotions and situations? So that's something I'm working on. But I would like
Okay.
I would like to say that I don't know why people care so much about a zodiac opposed to how a person is responding to your actions or reactions, but
Hmm.
people like different things. But so since we just talking about this, the past couple of days, I've been trying to learn what a soulmate is and how do you find a soulmate? Where is your soulmate? Me and Rhonda talked about this. She explained to me a soulmate doesn't mean someone you marry. It could be a sibling, it could be a friend, it could be a
Hmm.
teacher. So, do you think in your life? Well, let me start from the beginning. Do you know what a soulmate is, and what is a soulmate to you?
So I do believe that I have encountered a soulmate.
Okay.
Um, I've always heard that there are soulmates and life partners. Like your soulmate doesn't have
Hmm.
to be the one that you'll marry or entertain a relationship with, but your soulmate is the one who's like your soul is intrinsically connected to. But then your life partner is someone who you would typically live your life out with, that you're that companion. But sometimes the interactions between a soulmate is so dynamic and so intense that you guys have to go your separate ways in life, or it might not be created to be in a relationship per se, which kind of goes along with what Rhonda is saying. Like a soulmate can be your best friend or your counselor or your teacher or your mentor, someone like that. So that's what I've always heard. But I do feel like I encountered my soulmate. He passed on now. Um, but this man, I think if I were a puzzle piece, he was every conjoining puzzle piece that
Wow.
surrounded me. He really was everything I think that I ever thought that I would be with in life. And
Mm.
so once he passed on, I kind of believe now that um, you can have many life partners and life companions. But if there is a such thing as one soulmate, I feel like I met mine and he's now passed on.
Wow. Okay, so that's interesting because the whole point of me learning about this, the woman I'm currently talking to, we were talking about past relationships and love, and she was like, "Yeah, because you can have two soulmates," and I was just blown away by that because in my mind, I've been preordained, brought up in the church that God put one person on this earth for you, but you can fall in love as many times you want. So I'm
Mhm.
like, multiple soulmates. How do you even know if you had a soulmate? But you know that. So do you believe that you can have multiple soulmates?
I believe you can have multiple life partners.
Okay.
I believe that your soul will connect with many people. But after he passed away, I questioned all of that because I'm like, there's no way that if there was only one person for me, that God would take him away and leave me on the earth and expect me not to have another companion.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I did believe that you can only have one soulmate. But if I kind of rely on the analogy of soulmates and life partners, life companions, I feel like you can have many life companions. So I don't know that you can have multiple soulmates. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like people are seasonal. So
Woo!
in one aspect, like your sister for me, um, Rhonda is a soulmate for me of sorts. She's been there through so many seasons of my life. I love her like to infinity and beyond. So Rhonda might be like a soulmate for her, but in seasons we're closer, and some seasons we're not as close. Like if I'm moving, we're not talking as much. If I'm stationary, then we're talking a lot more. Um, so I believe you can have many life partners. That's
Right.
what I believe.
Okay. So I also believe you can have one soulmate and you can, because if you only have one soulmate and you get married, and that soulmate passes away, you still gotta find love and be with someone else. So
Exactly.
that's
My
how I
point
think about it.
exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my thing is, I think my best friend Candace is my soulmate, but I'm not sure because I'm still learning. But when I think about things like the little stuff about soulmates, like inseparable or knows how you feel, can tell, can almost finish a sentence, have similar interests, you like completes you. I think about that about my best friend Candace because we've been through so much. We've known each other 17 years, and
Wow.
I've been there for her trials and tribulations. She's been there for mine, and so I'm pretty sure she's probably it. But I'm still doing more research to understand that. But that's crazy that I'm 36 and I'm just now finding out what a soulmate is. Like, you know,
But I think it's okay if we normalize finding love in our late 30s and late 40s
yeah,
and figuring it out. I don't know where the notion that we have to find love early on and create a family unit early on, where that came from. Because if we're being honest with ourselves, when we graduate high school and like go to college after college, we're not really ready. Very few people are financially stable, emotionally stable. Very few people know themselves at that age, period. So, I mean, I think that it's kind of cool that now this is the generation that's normalizing, okay, finding love, in the middle phases of life. Because I don't want to say later, but like, I think it's okay to normalize finding love late in your 30s because that's when you're really like getting to know yourself. Like, okay,
hmm
this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I'm gonna deal with, this what these are my deal breakers, these are my compromises. Um, so I think, being your age and figuring it out is awesome.
yeah. So for me, I tell this to people all the time. When I grew up, I've never seen a man love my mother or even treat her right. And I'm not saying men did my mother wrong or nothing like that, but my mother, if she was dealing with a man, she didn't bring that in front of us. So I never got to see love until I got older, being around friends and following each other. So for me, when I think of love, I don't think of it as an age, but I also do think the church is enough that kind of provides that idea like
Mm,
you should get married, you
mm,
shouldn't have,
mm.
you know how they is about the sex. Now I
Yes,
agree with the
yes.
whole not having sex thing because if you think about it, you would live your life more if people weren't out here having sex and having babies. You would just be out here just living life, doing whatever your heart desires. But
Hmm.
you get trapped in that quicksand, that box, and you start forgetting about things and that woman started whispering in your ear what you want on your turkey sandwich. You like mustard? So no.
You and these analogies for the vagina, the quicksand, the box. I love
Yeah,
all of them. Please
yeah,
more,
yeah,
more.
yeah. I don't like to say pussy and vagina. Like it's not. I don't think they're bad words. I just like to use other words. So that's
I
just
like
me.
your word.
Yeah. So yeah, I tell women all the time. I'm like, can I get some box? They be like, what's that box? I be like, and she gonna deliver that box like UPS or no, like,
That's hilarious.
but so I just think about love and when it happens. My father told me this early on. I laughed it off, but now I'm older. I understand. He's like, you can get married when you're 60. Like, marriage shouldn't be the end all to your happiness. Like, your
Yeah.
happiness should come from yourself and it should come from being with someone. If I meet
Wow.
someone, like I tell people all the time, I know how to be a man, meet a girl, date her, get in a relationship, but I don't know how to marry you. I don't know the steps to take to marry you. I don't know what it
Mm,
feels like to want to marry a woman. I was in a relationship for 3 years living with a woman, but I never felt like I wanted to marry her. I just thought we was just gonna always be together. So
mm,
I don't know how to get to that stage, but I'm more open and willing to learn now. Like, how does that
mm.
happen? Like, is it a love thing? Like, I love you, I don't want to see you with nobody else, or is it just, you know what, I've been doing this a long time with you, and I think that's the necessary step. So when that happens for me, I'm looking forward to if it happens to me, how that makes me feel.
Okay. I hope I'm around to see that because that's gonna be interesting for me because you're a character.
I like going to weddings. I'm not sure I want a wedding, but like I said, I'm open to the idea if it happens, it will happen for me.
It
But
will.
yeah, so that's just where I'm at. But so earlier you had said you retired from the service. Like, so with things that are going on in the world and the pandemic, have you ever thought like maybe it's something I need to be doing? Maybe I should think about, getting back in because you can always be reactivated, can't you? Like if a necessity is needed.
Yeah, so if dire extremes happen, then they can reactivate us, quote unquote.
Hmm.
But I can't foresee that like ever happening in life, in the history of ever. I don't think that's ever happened. Um, no, I don't have, there's nothing in my body, in my mind, in my heart that says go back and serve. I served my 20 years so that I can be established and taken care of for the rest of my life. And now I always like to say, I like to tell my students, because I teach aerospace science, but I tell my students, I did what I had to do. So now that I can do what I want to do, which is work with youth, teach, mentor, coach. So that's what I like to tell anybody who really I encounter when they say, "Do you miss it? Do you love it?" I don't miss it. The only thing I truly miss from military is getting like a lot of free stuff. Like you get free luggage on all the flights, and I love to travel, so I don't get the free baggage. A lot of people will say I miss the people, but really, if those people are meant to be in your life and you had a close enough relationship with them, they'll be your relationships will sustain outside of the military.
Absolutely.
Um, so I don't miss it. I'm thankful that I retired when I did. Um, yeah, I haven't looked back. It's been such a blessing. Like I appreciated it and I savored the moments while I was there. But
Mhm.
now that I am a retiree from the Air Force, I don't look back. There's nothing in me that my focus now is working on the youth and kind of helping to grow this generation because they're going to be our future leaders. That's so important to me. And I tell my students, you're going to take care of me one day. So I have to plant these seeds. I have to kind of till the land and cultivate the land right now, which is the students, so
Mhm.
that when I get old and I can't take care of myself, these kids are going to be the ones that take care of me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I haven't looked back.
Mm. So do you think teaching right now during the pandemic is easier for you, or is it difficult?
Gosh, that's such a challenge. So my curriculum is a little bit different than like a normal teacher's because they just teach a subject, let's say
Hmm.
math or
Hmm.
history or social studies, language. I teach aerospace science, but I work in junior ROTC. So we're teaching drill, we're teaching military things as
Oh.
well. So it's kind of challenging for our program not being able to be completely hands-on.
Mm.
So virtually, when we went to virtual school, initially I was like, oh my God, I hate it. I can't do it. Because the kids be online, they be like, I'm asleep. They be in their
Right.
pajamas. Their parents be walking in the back. They be talking to people. So you really have to, that's where you get to see if your teaching is subpar or if it's a heightened level of teaching, right? So initially, like the first couple of weeks, I was nervous. I was like, okay, I'm gonna see how good of a teacher I am. But
Right.
man, baby, I know that this is my purpose because I enjoy my classes and my students enjoy my classes online. So then we went back to school, and we have about 1,000 kids at our school, and about 250 are on campus, and about 750 are on still virtual. So we're doing a dual modality, which is teaching like both online and in class.
Hmm.
So it's been challenging. Another thing that has been challenging is my kids stay up under me. Like I believe that they feel the love I have for them. And a lot of them, since I work at an inner city school, really come from broken homes sometimes. And so they don't, I'm very affectionate. I love my kids, like a mother hen, or an auntie or a big sister. And so I feel like they feel that love and they're always up under me. So I'm always having to say, sit down, go to your seat, social distance, 6 feet.
Right.
So that part is challenging, but yeah, and our school is inner city, so it hasn't been sanitized completely, if I'm being
Uh,
honest.
right.
So there are challenges, but we're making it do what it do.
Hmm. Well, it seems like you happy and your spirit is up and your energy's high and you're doing what you want to do with your life, and like that's so beautiful. Like, do you know? Like, I don't think a lot of people know not easy, but how well your life will work when you're working like that, when you're moving like that, when your vibe is good and your energy's high,
Hmm.
you're doing what you want and you're happy, and you're just worried about your daily activities. Like, you're just going, you're moving. Like, that's in my mind, that's the definition of a well-oiled machine. Like, that's what I think about. So I'm one of the people, I tell people all the time, I do exactly what I want every day.
Period.
Every day. Every
Mhm.
day. I know what it's like working a 9 to 5 and being unhappy and not feeling of being liked or seen. And I don't like that anymore. I don't like that anymore. I have one job that I don't care for, and that's just because it pays my child support. I'm just gonna keep it real. And that's the only reason why I do that job. But it's an easy job. Like, I have the keys to the building. I never met my boss a day in my life. So I just go do my
Oh,
job and I
wow.
leave. So for me, that's easy. Like, everything else I'm doing, I'm a statistician. So I work with sports. You know what I'm saying? And I'm doing podcasts. I'm trying to get back into paid writing. So, like, I don't have that thought process of, oh, I gotta get up in the morning and be
Right.
unhappy. Like,
Yeah.
I work out 5 days a week. Like, I'm striving for excellency. I'm trying to make history. So I don't have
Love it.
them bad vibes, them tired feelings. I go. I
I love
go.
that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
life. That's life right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
That's
That's
life. I think we're so conditioned to believe you got to work, work, work. You got to know. And I tell people, like some of my friends who are in the military, because the military is a career.
mm,
And so some of them are staying like past 20 years, because 20 years is when you get retirement paid, monthly. Some of them are staying, and I'm like, do you love it? I'm like, because all the stress and the turmoil and the things that come, and a lot of good things come out of the military. I'm like, do you love it? Because when you're doing what you want to do, when you're pursuing your purpose and your passion versus what you have to do to survive or sustain yourself, it's a whole different ball game, completely different ball game.
mm, mm, mm. Like, yeah, when you said I did my 20 years and I had no desire to go back, like, and I was thinking to myself, like, if she wanted to keep doing it, she wouldn't have stopped at 20. She would have just kept doing it. Like, you would still
Yeah,
be doing it. Like, I can't imagine doing something for 20 years and then give you the option to retire and pay you to be not do it anymore. You'd be like, I think I want to keep doing it. Like,
yeah. A lot of people don't prepare financially, so
mm.
they have to,
And
which is
some
why a lot of people work 9 to 5 jobs that they don't want to be at because they're not in a financial position to choose otherwise. But I'm grateful, I'm grateful for where I am.
Yeah, I have no desire to do something that doesn't benefit my emotions. So, like,
Mm,
sports, that's one side of my emotion. My
mm,
job for that page child support, that's another. Me writing, that's another emotion. Like, I feed off of my emotion. I embrace my emotion. Now, one thing I learned in therapy was gray areas, because I used to believe there was a truth and a lie, and that's it. And my
mm,
therapist taught me that, but there's a gray area, their truth, how they perceive it. Even if you're telling the truth, their perception of the truth is different. And I had to learn that. And I'm like, well,
good.
I was like, that's stupid. Like, no, we both
That's
we
a
walked
whole
in it,
word right
right.
there. That's good.
Yeah, like, I used to believe if I came over to Tiffany's house and I knocked her vase over, that's how I'm going to explain it. But through her
Mhm.
eyes was, you came to the house, you was clumsy, and if you was watching where you was walking, you wouldn't hit the vase. But in my
Right.
mind, I wouldn't see that as truth. I would just see you as just explaining for no reason. But I had to learn gray areas, and once I started giving people that opportunity to just live their truth, I just only cared about the truth and stopped worrying about my truth.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Come on, somebody.
Yeah, so that's something I learned. Like, therapy has been great for me, and at the same time, it's been tough for me because talking to a stranger about your life so they can dissect it and tell you things that you probably wasn't ready to hear was very tough. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I only thing I did, well, I won't say wrong. Only thing I didn't do was get a black therapist, because sometimes when I talk to him about black issues or black mothers or black people, he just be like,
Mm.
he's just do it anyway. Like, you don't have to take that. Like, it's not that simple. On the black, you gotta keep that
Yeah,
respect,
he
even if,
definitely doesn't get it.
yeah, but he's really good at just explaining to me about me. And it's so crazy to hear somebody who doesn't spend any time with you, but talks to you for an hour and can really help you fix things in your life. Like,
Yeah.
that's amazing for me.
They peel
That's,
back those layers,
oh,
right?
onions, 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 onions. That's how they do it. So I do want to talk to you about one more thing. So
Okay.
we are in 2021. We are You're basically family because my mom loves you. So if my mom loves you, my sister loves you, and I love you. It's
I
your
love you
family.
too.
So I really, 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 really am gonna come to
Oh
Miami this year.
God.
I'm gonna come to Miami this year. But I'm nervous because I have been told so many things about Miami, like it's expensive and it's fast paced and everybody is in these clubs and it costs $100 to get in. Tell me, would you how a visitor is supposed to experience Miami? Like, because you've been there for a little bit. So what would you think would be best for me if I came down there?
So you got to do the touristy things first, right? You have to go to South Beach just to
Right,
say, I've been to South Beach.
right.
You have to like spend some time on South Beach because you can't go to every club or every lounge. Well, it's in the middle of a pandemic. So let's just say post pandemic, people are vaccinated or not, but the pandemic is no longer a pandemic. So you will go to South Beach, do the touristy things. Then there are some small islands that you can go to from the different, yeah, there's some small islands. If you want to go to the Bahamas, you could take a quick trip to the Bahamas, which is out of the country, and you talked about wanting to explore. So it's, I think maybe a 3 hour boat ride, if that, maybe from here.
What?
Yeah, you can do a day trip. So there are some cruises that go to the Bahamas, spend the day there, and then come back. So what would I take you to do?
Wait a minute.
So there are a lot of hot spots in Vegas.
Before you tell me where you would take me, have you been to Little Havana?
Yes,
Did you smoke the cigars when you were over there?
I did smoke, but I didn't have one of my own, so I just smoked some of somebody else's.
Okay, all right. So
So
where?
I would take you to the cultured parts, Little Haiti, Little Havana.
Ooh.
I would take you to all the cultured parts so you can like get the gist of it. I would take you to some little corner restaurants, mom and pop restaurants.
Mm.
Because since I've been here, I've gained probably 10, 15 pounds because the food is so good. It's like it's
Uh,
way different from Vegas food. Vegas food is just like, here's the recipe, make it. Miami food, because it's a melting pot of cultures. You got Cubans, you got Haitians, you got Jamaicans, all Mexicans, Hispanics. Like the food is very rich in seasoning and spicy and flavor and so much. It's so good. So I'll
mm.
take you to some mom and pop spot. I'll take you to
Ooh.
the hood of Miami so you can see like it's real deal down here. Actually, the school I work with is in the smack dab in the middle of the hood.
Mhm.
Um, but then I would take you to the sophisticated black urban areas. Yeah, you can still wear your fitted.
Okay.
Oh, but you wear your fitted, a button up, wear some
Okay.
nice little loafers or some hard bottoms, or you can wear some slacks and some Air Force Ones or some Jordan ones. And then I would vibe. We go to some hookah lounges. We just vibe and go to some real sophisticated black spots, so you can see kind of the highs and lows of the black culture here in Miami.
Right. So, like I said, I work at 5 days a week. So anything to have either tight shirt on or my shirt off, I'm all about that life. you
Oh
know.
yeah, they would love you here because
Yeah.
here it's so superficial. They got
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Miami. Everything is all about looks and aesthetics.
Mm.
Everything is like, so they would love you here. I see
Yeah.
you working.
Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna wear a size medium so the nipples poke through. I'm be
Ah,
protruding. I'm gonna be
well,
about
they
that
would love
life.
you here. And
Have
you
you?
dark chocolate. They got a thing
Yes.
for dark chocolate men down here. I don't know what
Ooh.
it is, so
Listen, I'm coming for whatever's down there. Have you ever been to finger licking?
yes, I have quite a
Is it?
bit. I often get their snapper there.
Oh my goodness.
Their snapper, and I'm not a big fan of mac and cheese, but they got some good mac and cheese. And my
Mm.
dad loves their snapper. He came down here to visit. He wanted it every night. I'm like, Dad, you know how many restaurants are here? Can we get something? He's like, no, I want that snapper from Finger Licking. I'm like, oh, okay.
I've
Let's
never
go
had
get your snapper.
I've never had snapper before, but I would try that since I'm there because I usually just get perch or catfish. I'm very fish bougie. Like I like certain fishes, but
Mhm.
I'll try the shrimp and the calamari and the squid and things like that. But when it comes to fish, I'm very perch catfish. I don't really like anything else. But if
You
they're
got to
known
try
for this, yeah, yeah. So I've always wanted to go, but I've never went. And then I've been in Orlando at least 3 times, like at
Okay.
least, but I've never been to Miami. So I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, I'm just gonna travel this year. I'm gonna find some place. I know one place I'm going for sure. I'm going to Colorado because I'm gonna go do that that hike, the elevation hike where you go up 1,000 steps and then you go hike down 4 miles. Like that's my wheelhouse. Like that's me all day. I'm looking for
Okay.
I'm looking forward to doing that and then somebody carrying me home because that sounds like a lot of work. But that's that's it. But outside of that, I haven't planned another trip. That's the first trip I'm gonna plan. And then I don't know. I really want to come to Miami, not only because you're down there, but just I've never been, and I'm tired of people talking about it, and I've never experienced it. Like it
Unless you
just.
know somebody. My first time coming to Miami was for my 35th birthday,
Mhm.
and I had my girls meet me here, and we got like this really nice Airbnb, and it wasn't what I expected. I was like, what? Like
Mhm.
this is Miami? But now that I live here, like
Mhm.
now that I know the spots to go to, it could be that for me. You know what I'm saying? Like whereas
Okay.
before I came in, was a tourist, we were kind of conservative, we didn't like live Miami. But if you want to have a blast, you can definitely do that here.
Mm. Just gotta be careful because fraud is high down there. They will
Man,
scam you down there. So.
listen, you didn't ask me one question though. You didn't ask me if I would ever F with a cancer again.
Oh, you know what? I was going to say that, but we started talking. I definitely thought about it. So let me set this question up. So you were saying that it was passionate, it was intense, and it was some of the best stuff. You said the sex was great, the head was great. I hate when women say head because there's no head down there. Y'all getting face, but we'll move past
That's
that.
so funny. I think I just
But
started saying that this last year.
so not only would you mess with a cancer again, but do you think like that's something it has to be duplicated? Like it has to be like that for you to enjoy another cancer, or you just willing to see?
I'm open to whoever, whenever,
Mm,
whatever. You
mm,
know what I'm saying? So if another cancer comes my way and he's amazing, then what's up? Let's see. Let's get this popping. Let's see where this goes. If he's not, I think people are people. And I think zodiac signs are another label that we strategically categorize people.
mm-hmm.
I've been to some house parties, and they're like, oh, you're a Cancer, so you're a hoe, or you're a Libra, so you're stubborn, and I'm like, a lot of times, oddly enough, we do fit the zodiac sign that we fall under. And it's crazy. It blows
It
my
does.
mind.
It does. It does.
Yeah. So like if I read, I'm a Libra. So if I read about Libra, I'm like, oh my God, this is me to the T. But my reality is I'm trying to experience all that life has. So if another cancer comes my way and he makes it tingle down there, then what's up? You know what I'm saying?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You gotta get. There's a tingling sensation. Okay. Wait
Yeah.
a minute. Listen.
Now, would I ever mess with him again? Absolutely not. Absolutely
Right.
not. He was a
Right.
complete he was a fraud, on
Mm-hmm.
so many levels. And I gave him two opportunities. What's the saying? You fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So we're at the shame on me part. So there won't be a third time with this gentleman. So I would never mess with that
Right.
cancer again. But should a cancer enter my life, I'm gonna receive him with open arms if he's the one for me.
So I like your answer because I actually stopped talking to a friend who I was messing with. It was our second time messing around, and it ended up the same way with the same result and actually happened the same way. And I'm like, I must be boo boo the fool. Like I did
Yep.
it to myself again. Like this time we didn't try to be in a relationship. She was just like, I just want us to be friends and have sex. Oh, for real? So we ain't go, and that's all we did. But she and I bumped heads over the same type of thing, and she responded in the
Mm,
same type of way, and it made me mad this time. This time I got upset. Last time I just walked away from him and didn't talk to her, and I was like, that was
mhm.
immature. But this time I'm like, nah, hell no. Like, I can't believe this happened again, and I'm a dumbass. Like, I should have saw
Mm,
it coming. Like, eventually this was going to
yeah.
happen because it happened the first time. And I don't necessarily think you grew. I'm not saying you haven't changed, but I don't
Hmm.
think you grew in that space where if something like this happened, you're going to respond differently.
Hmm.
So I know exactly how I feel. But I want to tell you something. And since we being open, honest, I can't believe me and you never had conversations like this before because I think we could have learned from each other, which we will going forward. But
Yeah.
so at my tender age of 36, I was talking to my oldest sister about this. I want to go to sex clubs, not even to have sex. I want to go and just see what it is. I want to see, I want to watch, and then I'm going to leave. I'm not trying to participate. Now, if I like it, I'll go back and participate. But I want to watch and I want to see. And I just want to understand like, is this really, is this, because movie wise, how they be in there, but I want to go see one and be like, is y'all really getting down like this? Is y'all really passing the mouth around like this? Is y'all really taking turns? Y'all just going in here with these glory holes? And like, I really just want to let my eyes experience that. Like, and I actually got invited to one this year. Like, it was crazy. I wanted to go, but I didn't want to go with the person who invited me because she cared about me in a way, and I wasn't going to go there to have sex with you. And I don't want you to feel like because I'm there with you, you can't enjoy yourself. So I declined. And plus, it's a pandemic. You're not about to give me no COVID coochie. I don't want no COVID coochie.
Not COVID coochie, another name to add to my repertoire.
You about to give me no COVID coochie. I mean, I'm like, let's instant. Like, no, I don't want none of that. So, but
you and these names, that's so funny to me.
So, what is your knowledge on sex clubs?
So, actually, I just had this conversation about a week ago. I've been probably the most wild sex club was Hedonism 2 in Jamaica. It's a new resort. And so it's already a new resort. But then while I was there, it was a swingers convention. So it wasn't just a sex club. It was like a whole convention. So, and it wasn't planned to be that way. My girlfriend was like, hey, one of my girlfriends is having her 30th birthday party in Jamaica. Do you want to come? I said, yeah, paid the money. I didn't even look into the hotel until like 2 weeks before. I'll never forget this. I was at work. I said, let me just check this hotel out real quick. Very particular about my hotels and where I stay. And when I opened it up, now mind you, I'm working on a base government facility, and I typed it into the computer because I had no knowledge of it. And it was like Hedonism 2 nudist resort, and it started showing all these nude bodies, and I was like, oh my God, delete, turn off. Like, I'm like, oh God, please don't let this get traced. So we went, and when I got there, I was approached by a man. He had several piercings in his penis. It was a Caucasian gentleman. And he propositioned me like as soon as I got out the van from the airport and walked up to the counter, they welcome you, blah, blah, blah. We walked over to the bar. This man walked up to me, and he had his penis out. He was nude, piercings. What's up? He like, what's up? Can we, what you talking about? And I'm like, sheesh, I just got here. Can I have a minute to take all this in? And so I ended up saying no. But during that time, I did get propositioned to have a threesome by an interracial couple. I did have like public sex. I did see like sex in the room. They would have sex with their doors open. Each night they would have like an entertainment section. And so like in the entertainment section, I would see people sitting on other people's faces. I would see lesbian action. I didn't see any gay action. Not that I was looking for it, but it was interesting. I appreciated the freeness of it all. I wasn't quite as free, and I didn't participate in the actual convention, but it was an experience that I would do again.
Right. So here's my idea for it. As you grow up as a teenage man, male, you do things your friends are doing. You participate in things. You don't want to be left out. Yo, this girl get loose. She'll give you some. Oh, okay, I guess I got to go get some. So I've had those type of experiences. Even when I was in college, like, you did some things, but I never had the mental capacity to be a part of anything like that. I was just doing it just to do it. So now that I'm older and I understand myself, my body, how to use my body in certain situations and things like that, how long I'm gonna last in certain situations, but I just want to see that freeness, like, because in life, there are certain things I think people need to experience based on their journey. And part of my journey now where I'm headed is that I want to see it. I don't want to own no sex club. I don't want to be a member, but I do want to see the freeness of how people are enjoying themselves. Like, even if I went and I sat at the bar, I could probably have the most amazing conversation in that environment. That person's open and free. And I think I deserve that.
Yeah, I think you do. That's a part of life. I feel like with sex many times, you know how your parents are in a room when you're young and like a kissing scene will come on TV and they be like, close your eyes. And you'll be like, like looking through your fingers or leave the room and you be like low key, like looking past the door. I feel like sex shouldn't be that. And when God blesses me to have children, I'm gonna, tell them, I'm not gonna say go out there and be a thought or a hoe but I'm going to explain to them how sex is supposed to work and the dynamics of sex and when you should endeavor into that and when you probably shouldn't endeavor into it. But I don't think sex should be so taboo that we're so blinded by it when good sex comes, we're blinded by it and our emotions take over.
Right.
Or when bad sex comes, our emotions still take over. So I don't think sex should be a taboo subject.
Yeah, I talked to my sisters and my brothers about this. We didn't get the birds and the bees talk. So how I learned about sex? Porn. How I learned about sex? Music. My friends talking about getting head or fingering a girl or kissing. Like, you learn those things the wrong way. And I think even if you taught it, you still gonna probably learn it the wrong way, but you'll be knowledgeable about it. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I can't believe I'm about to tell you this. The first time a woman asked, can she lick my ass? I was like, wait a minute, you don't ask a man that. That's not, no, you don't. We might need to go sit at dinner or over some drinks and we need to write it down on a note and pass it to me. You can't just ask me that. But I never had nobody talk to me about that. So since she was already free with it, her thought process was, well, this is how I move. And I was offended. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't teach our young early enough, so as they're growing, their knowledge gets better and greater. Yeah. And then you start experiencing it the wrong way, and you're like, well, this is the way I've been doing it, so I'm gonna continue to do it. So that's the whole preordained thing. But I don't know, like, Tiffany,
that's a good topic. Like, that's an excellent. I'm with you. My family, my parents are still married, thank God. And there's 5 girls, all girls. So my parents, in their quest to be conservative and make sure their 5 girls were good girls, they never talked to us about sex. It was so hush hush. And then what ended up happening is my sisters, as soon as they got a little bit of freedom, they got pregnant. You know what I'm saying? As soon as and then with me, they let me be, I started traveling in high school and, doing different projects and youth organizations. So I was more travel. So I didn't feel the need to have sex right away. And I was focused on sports and other things. But it was so taboo and they didn't talk to us either. So literally the same way you learn, my friends were telling me, do this or do that, or like, you should do this. You never tried that? Or I remember the first time a guy tried to eat me out, I felt so dirty. Like, I got up and showered. But no, you gotta let that marinate a little bit. Like, enjoy the food that comes after, sis. Like, relax, sis. Like, but now, I busted wide open for a G. You feel no?
You just said saying. You got up and you showered. Like, what did you think you were washing off? Like like what just happened?
Well, I was raised in church,
right?
And this is another podcast. This is for real,
right? We're gonna have to continue this.
I mean, it's ingrained in you. Like, sex is bad, sex is evil, sex, fornication, you're going to hell. And, there are some of those values that I still believe.
Right. I do too.
But there are some that I don't. And I feel like the next time I get married, I will have premarital sex because I need to know what I'm getting myself into. But I just felt like I was dirty and I was ashamed before God and I was guilty. And even after I repented and said, God, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I still felt dirty. But I think I just had this really good girl perception of myself, and I wanted the guy to think a certain way of me, like, you just tasted one of the best pussies ever,
right?
And I got up and I like showered, so there were so many things that was, and I was young, so
yeah. I mean, I think we all feel that the first time because my first time was quick and it wasn't what sex is supposed to be. It was just, I did it. I got all these Siemens in the condom. And I'm like, I know I went fast and it was an experience I never forget. But at the same time, you're like, I really wish that wasn't my first time. Like,
yes,
your first time should be special. I am at the age of 36. I don't know any virgins, but if I meet one, I'm going to tell them like, you wait. I don't think of my sister like that. Her light is bright. I let her be over there, and no, I don't want
Okay,
my.
I'm sorry. Cut that part. Cut that part.
Yeah, I want my sister to be married before she gets the flower. But at the same time, though, I know how my sister mind works in situations like that. My sister's not gonna compromise who she is for anyone. You're like
Right.
you're not just
Right.
gonna
Fact.
you're not
I
gonna
have
get
so much respect for your sister and so much admiration and love for her. I
right.
just admire her in so many ways, and that's one of them. Like,
Yeah.
I wish I would have kept all my goods until I met the right one.
Listen, but when I can't remember about the sentence. Jesus, I'm going to hell. If and when my sister gets the flower, it's gonna change her life because
Completely.
she's never felt that joy that comes from that. And then when she gets to the point where she knows how to make it good or whatnot, I just, but when she sees it, she gonna go crazy. We had this conversation. Oh man, but
Oh, Rhonda, I love you. Don't be offended. I'm so sorry. I'm not telling your business. I'm just proud of you.
listen,
That's all.
Rhonda, she made me talk about it. I didn't bring it up.
That's
I,
so funny.
but yeah. So for me, I'm ready to experience these different things, and I'm growing, and I'm happy, and I can't wait. But my life doesn't revolve around sex because I've had a lot in my life, so I value
Oh,
other things. So
okay.
yeah,
So you're experienced. You're seasoned.
I'll have to tell you off air what my number is, but
Are you willing to share your number? Because people nowadays, they're like, they won't share their number. And I'm like, I
I,
want somebody who's experienced because then you know how to handle me versus someone who's inexperienced. And I'm like, okay, yeah. But if I like a little hole in my man. You know?
so I'm gonna just say this because I'm not definitely sure of the exact number, but I know it's in this range. If I'm not over, I'm real close to 100, and that's no cap. I did a lot of sex growing up. Like, oh, you just gonna like listen. I had no preference either. Like, you just want to have sex with me? Let's have sex. I was one of those
Was it
types.
good sex though, or was it just really experimenting and kind of learning yourself?
I didn't start having great sex till my 30s.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I started having sex when I was what, 14, 15. So for 15 years I was having sex to have sex. I
Oh
probably
wow.
had some quality box in between, like some woman who had some good, I Tiffany, I was a very rambunctious individual. Um I just
Okay,
did something.
Rambunctious.
Yeah, I was in it. Like I have no problem sharing. I have if you talk to any of my friends, they'll tell you like I was in the sex. Like I thought that's what I was supposed to do to show that I was a man. That I'm
Mm,
supposed to have sex with these women. Like
that's
I
heavy.
would call women all times of night. Women would be like, all right, you come over. And I would go over a woman's house and she would already be under the covers on her knees talking about just hit it from the back. So I get in her house, I lock her door, I put the condom on, I go hit, and then I leave.
Wow.
Like I was doing things like that. My homie be like, "Hey man, I just hit this chick. She'll let you hit too." I'm hitting. Like I'm gonna tell us one story, then we're gonna cut this podcast off with.
Please do.
So
Please do.
at when we were younger, we had a sauna in our apartment building, and we would go in there with women and cut the lights off. And sometimes we would switch women without their knowledge. But I was young. I thought that's what's cool. Like I'm not saying that was cool, but I
I
thought
have
that's what
never in
cool.
my 40 years heard anything like that. Y'all would switch.
We would just in the middle, we would just say, hold on a second, and we would get up and we would go lay on top of the other woman. Like so for me, sex wasn't a good thing. It was just like we're doing it, he's doing it. My homie got head in the back of the school bus. Now I gotta get head in the back of the school bus. You know what
So
I'm saying?
did the
So
women ever know the difference?
I never asked him. But I'm pretty sure, like, I'm pretty sure if another man did it differently and I did it differently, sure, they should know the difference. But I think they were just enjoying. Well, I don't know if they were enjoying themselves, but they were
Oh.
participating. They were participating. It wasn't like we forced them. Nothing like that's not what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. No, no, no.
I
Yeah.
wasn't mindful enough to ask a woman if she enjoyed it back then. I didn't care less about you. I was thinking about my nut, and that's it.
Right, right.
If you want a walnut, you can go over to Giant Eagle and get you a bag of 99 cents.
Oh no,
But
no.
so for me, I had a lot of sex. I think in high school, I know for sure in high school I had sex with 30 women, like without a doubt. In my 4 years
In
of high
high
school,
school?
yeah, I was listen. In high school, I definitely. In college, no. I would say my freshman year, I had sex with maybe 3 women, but in high school, I definitely had sex with 30 women. And I don't, and I think about things like that, like, man, why was I moving so fast? Why was I doing those things trying to fit in and just my homies love me regardless to this day, but we just thought that's what supposed to do. I'm not ashamed of my experience, but I can honestly look back at it and say I was doing too much. I was
Wow.
having sex. And then when I we're gonna have to wrap this because I keep talking about this thing, but I have to
Okay,
take
okay.
because I tell
Good.
you so
We'll
much.
save this for the next podcast. Hopefully, I'll
Yes,
be back.
yes. So before we get out here, I just want to tell you thank you for coming on. Like I was kind of nervous to ask you because before I asked you, I had talked to my sister about it, and around it, she would love to do. I'm like, you sure? She was like, yeah, because I felt like you and I haven't spoken in a while, and
Yeah.
I didn't know you were down south, and then I didn't know you were divorced either. So I was like, she definitely has someone I need to talk to. And plus, I just always had a good energy about you, and I just wanted
Yeah.
to just
Thank
talk to
you.
you and see you, hear your
Thank
voice,
you.
make sure you were smiling, just make sure you were just still being that strong black woman I met. So I was just so happy that you wanted to do it. Like if I would have known that, I probably would have had you on first because I
Oh
think like
wow, that's an honor.
yeah, because I feel like we probably could have had a very the same conversation and probably would have helped me in my growth of podcasting. Because the person I had on first, she helped me tremendously, and she's one of my closest friends. So I'm grateful that she was able to come on. But
Oh,
I'm just
awesome.
I've been blessed to have 6 great people, great women come on so far and talk to me. You are the seventh, so I
Well,
really
thank the
appreciate it.
seventh. I appreciate that. That number
Yes.
is a favorite number of mine. The number of
Okay.
perfection. It's the
Okay.
number of
Okay.
perfection biblically. So I'm gonna go
Oh,
ahead and throw that out there.
okay.
I want to thank you for this opportunity. Before I came on, I prayed, and I prayed that it will elevate you and your podcast and everything that you are purposing to do. And I also prayed that it will open doors for me as well. So I'm praying for you. I'm supporting you. I'm cheering you
Yes.
on. And
Yes.
I like what you're doing. I think you definitely have the great energy for this.
Right.
And I think it's going to go far. So, you got somebody in Miami cheering you on.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Yes.
twerking,
So if
twerking and cheering you on.
okay, let me find out you out here twerking for Jesus. Let me
Yeah.
find out.
I'm very proud of you though. To see your growth
Thank
over
you.
the years has been,
Thank you.
you've always been hilarious. One of
Thank
my
you.
favorite people ever. I often say, Rhonda, how's Robert doing? What's he up to? What's he doing? And he's still crazy. And but I enjoy you so much. So thank you for
Yeah.
the opportunity.
Yes. I hopefully when I come down there, maybe we can do this live. We can have a different
Oh,
backdrop.
we could.
And I know you drink, and I already saw you drinking wine. We can have drinks while we're doing it, and we can
Yeah,
have a different conversation because I feel like we got so much more we need to
for
discuss.
sure. We can unpack
Um,
definitely.
we definitely I definitely want to share more stuff with you and get your perspective so I can just know from your point of view because it seems like you have some experience of your own, and
Yeah.
your aura is glowing, you glowing,
Thank you.
and I just appreciate it. So before we get out of here, it's one thing I like to say always when I end my podcast, and that is to, well, stay COVID free and to eat more chicken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's my thing. So I want to say thank you and I love you.
Thank you. I love you.
Until the next time we speak, I look forward to it. But we're gonna get on out of here.
Peace out.
Peace.
Salute. Good job.